Hi there, welcome back. In the last quick win, we talked about the basic principle of food combinations and how it helps in conserving your energy, as well as detoxifying your body naturally. In this video, we will cover the very last quick win, and as mentioned previously, one of the most important ones. So just like quick win number 6, pay close attention. In quick win number 7, we will be talking about the way that you start your day with regards to breakfast and how a first meal can maintain energy levels all the way through dinner time. By now, I'm sure you understand that the stomach and intestines are responsible for either robbing you of your energy or giving it back to you. And this depends primarily on the way you choose to combine your foods. However, there is also another important factor that adds on to this food combination principle. And this is what you choose to start your first meal with. Now, when you hear the phrase, breakfast is the most important meal of the day, what do you automatically think about? A good hearty breakfast with lots of food to fill you up and get you pumping for the day, right? Something nice and heavy so that you won't feel hungry until lunchtime. Maybe a full English breakfast with sausage, bacon, eggs, baked beans, black pudding, a baked tomato, and the good old English muffin. Or maybe you prefer a buttery pastry basket with various jams, some cold cuts, cheese, some bread, and to top it off, some fresh orange juice and black coffee. Or perhaps you're more an American-style quadruple flapjack kind of person with the maple syrup and butter everywhere and scrambled eggs on toast. Now, whichever breakfast option makes you salivate the most, think about the way you will feel after you had any of them. If your thought is throwing up a little in your mouth just at the mere image of seeing yourself crashing on the couch with your tummy in between your hands as if you just had swallowed an entire 5-kilo medicine ball, then you're about right. None of these breakfasts will have any positive effect on your energy whatsoever. First of all, they do not follow the principles of food combining at all. And second of all, they go completely against the next principle, which I'm about to teach you. And that is to ease your body into digestion at all costs. And this is especially applies for breakfast or the very first meal of the day. To understand this better, you need to picture your digestive system or digestive tract just like a train, where all the cars are linked to each other. Each car represents the food that is being eaten one by one. So whatever comes in first will be digested first, and so on. Therefore, if you were to have some fish and then right after that some fruits, the fish would be digested first while the fruits would press on behind to be digested. But there is always a but. The thing is, not all foods are digested at the same speed, and not all foods require the same amount of energy in order to be digested. For example, fruits will not be digested at the same time as your meat or your fish. And fruits are digested in 15 minutes, including blended mixed juices, around 40 minutes for most vegetables, and up to 60 minutes for starchy vegetables such as squash and potatoes. On the other hand, grains, nuts, and dairies take up between 1.5 to 3 hours to be digested, while animal meats, fish, and seafood require up to 5 hours or more in order to be digested. What's important also to note is that those digestive timings are estimated following the right food combination principles. If you spend your time having improperly combined meals, then the digestive time will be extended by a mile. Knowing this, it is therefore important to learn how to ease your body into digestion every day and for every meal, so that you activate your digestive tract in a slow and gentle manner every time. This is a very simple and super important rule, but if you follow this rule every day, it will have a very big impact on how much energy you have for the day and at the end of the week. You could even compare your digestive system to the warm-up you need before starting any physical activity. The warm-up will help your muscles and overall body to slowly prepare itself for the exercise to come. Well, the same applies to your digestive system. In order to get ready to digest food, it first needs to get warmed up by starting out with something light. And again, this is especially important for the breakfast or the first meal of the day. Now, how do we do this, of course? I'm pretty sure you know where this is going. So in order to make this easy to understand, I will go through the breakfast routine that you will need to implement and discuss the basic guidelines that you will need to follow moving forward to achieve the perfect breakfast. For the remaining number of meals, we will cover this at the end of the course in the nutritional section. But for now, breakfast is the most important to build lasting energy. So, first things first, number one, for breakfast, you need to start by drinking water. Drinking water as early as possible after waking up will rinse your tract and activate your digestive system first thing in the morning. A big warning to the people who start the day with processed packaged fruit juices and straight up coffee. This is absolutely not recommended. Second of all, the first solid foods that you should put in your stomach for breakfast should be and must be fruits or fresh fruit juices. And I do mean fresh, not canned and not in a carton box. More importantly, fresh fruits and fresh fruit juices should always be eaten on an empty stomach. So, if you wake up late and you're going to have, for example, lunchtime, you should have fruits first and then your lunch. Now, there is a lot of controversy on fruits in general and at which time they should be or should not be eaten. So, since this is an important subject here, I'll make this very clear for you once and for all and give you the true facts. Fruits are in fact digested by the body in a flash, as we just saw. They are made to dissolve quickly, they are made to be absorbed quickly, and they are made to be released quickly by the body. Also, if you look at fruits from a natural perspective, fruits are packed with all the vitamins, minerals, carbohydrates, amino acids, and fatty acids that your body needs just to function normally. In fact, fruits and vegetables alike are probably the only type of food that contain all of the trace elements and nutrients that our bodies need to function. So, by eating fruits on an empty stomach for breakfast, you are prioritizing the absorption of these nutrients first before anything else. And contrary to what most people would believe, our earlier ancestors were not big eaters at all. In fact, research shows that our human ancestors appear to be predominantly fruit eaters. And in another study done by analyzing the bone remains from ancient gladiators, it was found that the samples taken from the gladiators had higher levels of strontium than the other skeletons, which translated into a diet seriously lacking of meat. So, if your idea of a gladiator is that of someone who ate a lot of protein to stay strong, think again, because they were mostly vegetarians, feeding themselves essentially with carbohydrates and plant-based foods. Knowing this, it only becomes natural to treat fruits and vegetables as the priority over anything else. And by systematically starting your day with fresh fruits and making it an automatism right from the morning, you are making sure that you have your daily dose of fruits and nutrients no matter what. Stocking up on fruits for the week therefore becomes a necessity for your life and your energy, not just something you do once in a while when you notice the lonely green apple on your living room dining table. This also accustoms your body in digesting fruits first thing in the morning, which is actually a great habit to have and something that your body will adapt to very, very quickly. Second of all, as mentioned previously, you always want to start eating something light first, and then as you go through the day, take in heavier things step by step. So, by eating fruits on an empty stomach for breakfast, you're gently waking up your digestive tract with the easiest food to digest, and one which will give you the perfect amount of energy you need to start your day correctly. And again, since fruits are digested in pretty much 20 minutes or less, they require close to zero amount of energy compared to other foods. So unlike your English breakfast over there, which the stomach will take over 6 hours to process, if not more, and where the food will not be broken down properly, and which will then require an enormous amount of energy to be digested in your intestines, energy which you desperately need for your day, will not help you at all. Third of all, fruits have all one thing in common. they are all built and created to serve one single purpose. They have an incredible detoxifying effect to anyone who eats them correctly. When I talk about detoxification with fruits, I'm emphasizing on the elimination of toxic waste, because fruits have the ability to cleanse your body of toxic waste. Remember that we talked about Remember what we talked about in Quick Win 6 and how you need to eat foods of a cleansing nature instead of a clogging nature. Well, fruits are extremely cleansing and help your body get rid of all the unnecessary toxic waste you have built up. That is why when people start eating fruits the right way, meaning for breakfast and on an empty stomach, they finally allow the body's natural detoxification cycle to happen normally. And if you have never done this in the past, well, you might experience some discomfort for a short period of time. This all depends on how much toxic waste and acidity has built up in your body. But honestly, it is better to feel a slight irritation now rather than completely disregard the detoxification process and find yourself in a "oh shit, it's too late now" situation in the future. Now, symptoms of detoxification can vary depending on person to person. But once you start applying the principles of eating fruits the right way, the cleansing power of fruits will stir up all the toxic waste and you might experience bloating, gas, and diarrhea. It is even possible that you might gain a couple of pounds in the first few days. But not to worry, this is just your body adjusting itself naturally. You also may experience mild headaches, soreness in the body, or even feelings of anxiety and low energy. But again, not to worry. Symptoms usually die out within the 4 days and affect only a small percentage of people. But shortly after, this sudden introduction of life-giving nutrients and the powerful cleansing nature of fruits will leave you feeling light and energetic. It is therefore important not to stop this natural process, as you would simply be just going backwards on your progress and screwing yourself all over again. Because completing the full 100% entire detoxification process could take up weeks or even months. Therefore, it is important you understand that this practice of eating fruits first thing in the morning and on an empty stomach is not made to go away anytime soon. This is a lifestyle change that you need to do right now, and one which needs to stick. That is, of course, if you want to unlock the secrets of natural weight loss, a life full of energy, and finally, a life without any chronic disease. The decision is up to you after all. Finally, for the last points on why fruits should be eaten first, your body is exclusively made up of 70% of water. Knowing this, it is only logical that you need to take in as much water as possible to sustain yourself. And I'm not talking about the 8 glasses of water that you try to stick to on a daily basis to stay hydrated. No, I'm talking about the foods that are essentially composed of water. And foods that are essentially composed of water in general are considered as live foods, foods which are alive. Fruits and vegetables, for example, are alive. Just like you and me, they are composed of millions of cells which make them a living organism that can grow and multiply. The life-giving water that is inside those foods is therefore very important when choosing what to eat. And because again, 70% of your body is water, therefore 70% of what you eat should come from the life-giving water found in fruits and vegetables as well. And there are no other foods that contain as much water as fruits and vegetables. Fruits, in fact, have the highest water content compared to any other food on the planet. All fruits are 80% to 90% composed of cleansing, life-giving water. So, starting out your day with foods that are physically alive, full of life-giving water, full of all the necessary nutrients you desperately need to survive, biologically designed for humans to digest quickly and absorb quickly, biologically designed to detoxify you if eaten on an empty stomach, you will quickly see that your mornings, your days, and your months, your weeks will become easier, and you will feel lighter, more vibrant, more alert, and believe it or not, you will feel less hungry. Why? Well, simply because you will be feeding your system the right way this time, making your mitochondria happy and hard at work given the amount of nutrients you will be throwing their way. And given the amounts of water present in fruits, high water containing foods have a habit of making you feel full for longer periods of time. On the other hand, if you spend your time eating only dead foods coming from a box, which have been sitting on a shelf for God knows how long, and which do not contain any water at all, well, you are starving your mitochondria and your cells who actually need that water to thrive and multiply. Understanding and applying this basic principle of eating fruits in the morning and having a diet rich in high water containing foods is therefore the cornerstone of nutrition and one of the keys to feeling good all the time. And similar to the previous quick win, people often have a hard time grasping this fruit principle and often contest the obvious. But again, this is just because people don't want to change and simply dismiss the idea because they can find 10 other sources online that say otherwise. But if I were you, I would stop believing everything that Google tells you, because Google just makes up its mind based on what people post, but it doesn't mean that information is true or correct in any way. The best thing in the end is to test it yourself and make it your own idea of it. Amongst the questions I often get, people ask me, but won't this make my blood sugar level rise up through the roof and make me crash shortly after? Well, if you do that once in a while at best, yes, your body not being used to this will want to hold on to that life-giving water it never gets and store the sugar from the fruits as a reserve instead of burning it naturally. But as you get more and more into the habit of having fruits in the morning, the natural sugar from the fruits will be digested quickly and all the toxic waste will be released naturally as well. Additionally, fruits will make you less hungry compared to processed sugars from the cereals, which will have the opposite effect and make you more hungry. The second question I get is, but won't the sugar from fruits make me fat or make me gain weight? Again, absolutely not. The natural sugar from the fruits is necessary and actually good for you. The key is not to overeat and feel really full. You should not have you should have enough fruits that you don't feel like you've had too much. Some days I have more fruits than on other days. It all depends on how I feel. Question number 3, but I have regular heartburn and acid reflux. So won't eating fruits on an empty stomach make things worse for my condition? Once again, this is a false assumption that fruits create acidity in the body. In reality, all fruits, even the high acidic fruits like limes, lemons, or oranges and grapefruits, if they are consumed properly, meaning on an empty stomach, in moderation, and separated from other meals, they will all the fruits will become alkaline, meaning the opposite of acidity. And as they enter the body, all fruits and a lot of vegetables have the incredible ability to neutralize acidity in the body, which is yet another reason why fruits and vegetables should be regarded as the most important foods that you can possibly eat. So if you're worried about having acid reflux, don't. Because for me, honestly, every time I have a little bit of acid reflux, my first reflex is to have a piece of fruit. And shortly after, my acid reflux is gone, if I have eaten the fruits properly. Question number 4, but what if you mix up fruits with other foods? Then what happens? If you remember my digestive train metaphor earlier, whatever you eat first will be digested first. Well, if you start your day with bacon, sausage, and eggs on toast, which will kill your energy and put your stomach in a turmoil, and then finish that off by having fruits right after, all of the meat, which requires at least 6 hours to be digested and which is now improperly combined with the bread, will clog up your stomach and prevent the fruits from being digested at their normal speed. And when fruits are eaten on top of other foods, many problems happen. Let's say you finish eating that bacon and sausage and eggs and toast, and you casually start eating a plate of fresh fruits right after. That plate of fresh fruits is ready to go straight down your digestive tract in a flash. But instead will be stopped because the bacon, sausage, eggs, and toast are in the way. As a result, the whole meal, which is meant to be the most important meal of the day, starts fermenting and rotting, turning everything into a very negative acid environment. That is the reason why you run for acid-suppressing medicines to control the acidic environment that you have set for yourself, or the reason why you feel bloated all the time. Eating fruits the right way, meaning on an empty stomach, therefore not only maintains your energy levels high, but also acts as a cleanser for your body instead of clogging it up, making it, again, the most important food that you could ever possibly eat first. And believe me, I know that you are used to eating fruits at the end of a meal, like everyone else and like me before. But in fact, this is completely wrong and counterproductive for your digestive system to function properly and retain the precious energy that you need. Now, will things get digested in the end? Yes and no. They will, but actually they won't. Because instead of taking just a few hours to digest, your digestion will drag on for a couple of days or more as you keep piling on toxic waste meal after meal. In fact, to give you an idea of the extent which your digestive system can take on the shit that you give it, when writing up this course, a funny memory from when I was a kid popped back in my head. Now, when I was around 5 to 6 years old, at the time, I was in French school in South Korea. And in class, amongst the books available to read, there was the 1996 Guinness Book of World Records. If you're not familiar with the Guinness Book of World Records, it is not a beer competition. It is an association in charge of recording all the world records, no matter what they may be. So the book was in the class, and when going through it with my friends at the time, I remembered one record in particular which shocked me at the time and which made me very curious. It was a record about Mr. Michel Lotito, who was a French entertainer at the time and who had received the nickname of Mr. Mange-Tout, meaning Mr. Eat All. He had received the world record of the person with the strangest diet for his ability to digest indigestible objects. The young man at the age of 16 had developed a habit of eating substances that were non-nutritive, such as metal, glass, rubber, and other materials. A particularly thick stomach lining combined with unusual powerful digestive juices allowed him to digest pretty much anything he wanted without causing too many problems, or at least that's what they say. And it is estimated that over the course of his 40 years, he ate nearly 9 tons of metal, of which included a small airplane, bicycles, shopping carts, televisions, and a lot more things. So, even though a lot of people will argue that your stomach is capable of digesting pretty much anything, similar to Mr. Eat All over there, who by the way died very early at the age of 57, and the explanation will speak for themselves, those people do not take into consideration that the great majority of the world population right now currently suffers from daily digestive issues. Issues which are aggravated by ill-combined meals and worsened by eating fruits after having an ill-combined meal. For example, in the United States alone, a survey done in 2013 showed that 74% of Americans suffered from digestive-related issues. And again, this is in major part due to the type of food we eat and the order in which we eat them. So, now that you are clear on the fruit story and why you should eat fruits first thing in the morning before anything else, I'll go back to outlining the breakfast sequence that you should implement moving forward to maximize your energy and health. So, After waking up and before having anything to eat, you should start with a glass of water automatically. Once you do, guess what is next? If your answer is fresh fruits, then give yourself a big thumbs up because you've actually listened to me all this time. All right, so now you've had your glass of water, you've had your fresh fruits. What do you think comes next? Next on your breakfast menu, it is now time to prepare your energizer for the day. The energizer is basically a daily shake which will allow you to consume a high amount of additional essential nutrients that your body needs and add on as much as possible the amount of water-containing foods that you will eat. It is also with the energizer that you can sneak in a high number of different superfoods that you would normally not eat on a regular basis. You can picture your energizer as the same way Obelix in the comic Asterix and Obelix pictures the magic potion prepared by the wizard of the village. Lucky for him, he doesn't need this potion anymore because he felt into it as a child, giving him super strength for life. You and I, on the other hand, live in the real world and therefore should have this energizing potion every day. Another great thing about the energizer is that it is designed to be digested easily and quickly since it is in liquid form. And since all the foods are shredded down into small particles, it's much easier on your stomach as well. So, along with having a glass of water, fresh fruits on an empty stomach, and then your energizer, the energizer becomes one of the essential breakfast requirements that you must implement in your daily morning routine. If you're not able to do this in the morning, then you can have your energizer during the day, making sure, however, that it is not mixed with other meals and that you have it at least 3 hours before a meal or 3 hours after. And even though I will rarely ask you to purchase anything or buy anything during the time in this course, if you want your breakfast sequence to be successful, you will need to have a blender to make the energizer. And lucky for you, now blenders don't cost much money. You can consider this as a small investment into your health. You can find a blender online for about $30 to $60, and I would personally not go lower than that, as you need something which will last. But in the end, as long as it does the job of blending foods together, you got yourself a blender. So, all in all, your breakfast sequence so far looks like this. Number 1, glass of water. Number 2, fresh fruits or fresh fruit juices. Number 3, 20 minutes after your fresh fruits, an energizer to be taken in the morning or during the day on an empty stomach. And finally, once you've had all these elements, you can then have something with protein. A hot bone broth, some eggs, yogurt with banana and some berries, chickpeas and other legumes, grain-free pancakes, avocado, and so on. Basically, once you've had your water, your fruits, your energizer, you should always avoid completely having meat or carbs in the morning. All these things will sap your energy right at the beginning of the day and completely rob you of your energy altogether. So now that the full energy breakfast sequence has been explained in detail, I will see you in the next video where I will walk you through the step-by-step process of preparing a proper energizer and what kind of ingredients you need to put inside. See you there.